Happy New Year! Thanks for watching. Oh, you're still there. My New Year's resolution was not one that I came about just off the cuff or without some great thought and gnashing of teeth. Depending on your age, you're going to see the same thing eventually, that your possessions can start to possess you. Think about that for a minute. I already started instituting a thinning of the herd towards the end of December, and I'm almost completely thinned down to the bare bones of what my knife ownership is going to be. I can actually feel a slight sense of relief from that action, because when I wake up in the morning, there's the 3 knives sitting on my bedside table that I know that I'm going to carry that day. It's just soothing my nerve endings. That's all this is. Anything else that I might have is special occasion knives. Like if I'm going to be doing something out in the woods, yes, I still have the orange handled Spyderco Paramilitary 2 with the S90V blade that I will take out into the woods. The knife culling, as I'm calling it, did not apply just to pocket knives and my EDC stuff. It has to do with the larger knives that I also use when I go out into the woods or I'm doing field work or whatever the hell it is. What knife do I usually grab and winds up taking the bulk of the work? Well, the Scrapyard Knives 9-inch with the SR101 steel. Now, for those of you that don't know what steel that is and find yourselves mildly irritated by companies like that, like Bussy, who like to create their own names for the steels, I think that's weird. SR101 is the same as ball bearing steel 52-100. It is a carbon steel. Now, they supposedly have some sort of fancy schmancy highfalutin over the moon space age whiz bang heat treatment that they do. Past tense. The heat treat machinery that they used for that is kaput, and it costs too much for them to keep it running. So if you can find something in SR101, I would suggest getting it, because I've had really good luck with that steel, especially in the thicker knives. But once that supply is gone, it's gone, because they're not going to get the new machine that costs so freaking much for them to do the heat treat. Just a little insider on that. Might be old news to some of you, and for some of you it might not, and for some of you, you might not give a flying fuck about that. So I use that 9-inch blade more than anything else. More than my Becker BK10, which I love and I would never get rid of. The BK2, that's on the chopping block. The BK7 has some sentimental value, so I'll probably be holding on to that. Every other large blade, gone. Just, I don't need it. Why have all that stuff? Now let's get into the mid-range stuff, the hunting knives. What am I going to keep? Well, of course I'm going to keep the SE3 with the black handles, because I really want that to turn out and start patinaing and wearing out and looking like some of those old rancid knives that I've shown in previous videos. I'll show another picture. And then there's my Randall knives. I've whittled it down. There's a little knife maker pun for you. I've whittled it down to, I believe, 5 knives. I have 2 Model 3-5s, one with a leather handle, and then this burgundy handled one. That was my dad's. I'm using this a lot. I carved the Christmas roast with it. I do a lot of chopping in the kitchen. I do stuff outside. What's nice about it is with the micarta, I feel better about maybe cutting up raw turkey or raw chicken and not getting E. coli stuck in here like I would on the leather handled. So that is the 3.5. I re-wet formed this, and oh baby, that's nice. Which all leads up to, I bought my last knife. That doesn't mean that I bought it as opposed to stole it or rented it or borrowed it, I have purchased my last knife. There's really no need for me to have any more knives. And what a knife this is. I've already done all the mods. I'll show you before pictures, but this is a Randall 5-4. Now I've done videos about the 5-5, how I batoned it and all that stuff, and it was the Angier model that has the compass in the butt. This does not have a compass in the butt. You can see that the handle shape is different than it was in the before pictures. It was just too bulbous, too big. So I spent almost 2 hours on the grinder, varying grits, then bastard files, and then single cut files, and then sandpaper, straps, and all kinds of sanding, and then polished it. When you get a Randall knife, and if you get it from Randall or an authorized dealer, it will come wrapped in butcher paper, and on said paper it will have some markings. Those markings indicate what options were possibly purchased for this knife and what the configuration is. They have their own little system. There were a few things that I had forgotten about as far as what the markings were. The most important one was, I thought this was a duralumin, and that's how they call it, duralumin, duralumin, kind of like durable aluminum. That's what this is. They look very similar. This might have a slight tint to it that's a little different color, a little richer color. This is aluminum. Well, when I was grinding this, I was having a little bit more of a difficult time grinding material away than I thought I should be having. So I contacted the dealer and had him decipher the coding on my butcher paper, and come to find out that wasn't duralumin, it's all nickel silver, hence the extra weight. This is a heavy knife, especially in the butt. So with the way it was, and bulbous and round, because that was another feature that you could get. It was called a tapered handle or something like that. There was a lot of that nickel silver back there, so this knife was freaking heavy. Now it has the normal tapered handle shape of a Randall knife. I mean, this one is almost the same width there to there. This one just gets a little bit bigger. I may grind some more down here, leaving the top flat. I may flatten that out a little bit. I've got room to do it. I can go up much higher, closer to that nut. But I have found that this is actually quite comfortable. I've used it a lot. It's taking on a patina. I, of course, cut a mile off of that guard, rounded all of this out, made it nice and smooth. This particular 5-4 is probably the 9th or 10th that I've had of this model. It has the nicest blade shape, which is fantastic because it's the only one I have anymore. And I thought, you know what? Let's just make this the very last knife that I ever get. Make it Grandpa's knife or Dad's knife or an heirloom or whatever. But I have found that I carry this around a lot. It's in a Bark River Knives sheath that I believe came with a gunny that is now rotting in the landfill. So I wet molded it, and now we have a proper sheath for a very proper knife. And that is my New Year's resolution. We're going minimal here. What am I carrying right now? Great question. I am proud to say that I am only carrying this knife, Pioneer X. It's because it's the Pioneer and it has scissors. That, I am promising myself that I'm going to carry the 940 every day for a year. And then finally, it varies between whether or not I'm going into town and stuff. I was going into the bank today. I didn't want to carry my SE3 on my belt or my Izula. So, of course, buck. That is my 2024 New Year's resolution. I wish all of you, except a few of you who are becoming problem children, you know who you are. You're kind of a pain in my ass. But everybody else, I'm wishing a happy, healthy, productive, safe, and loving New Year.